All right, I was out cutting the grass. Got quite a bit of it done. It's very wet. There is nothing I can do about that. But that's a different type of natural law. Requirements and roles of knowledge, part 3. We're in the intro still. Is getting up and running. Let's go.
For creating change and the requirements for creating change and the role of knowledge. Let's talk about these concepts for a moment. Human beings everywhere say that they want certain things in their life, and they say that they want certain things to be present for all humanity. Okay? We say we want certain conditions to be present for ourselves and our species as a whole. And we say we want things such as happiness, health, peace, prosperity, freedom, etc. And all these things are great things to aspire to. And we say we want them. Most people will say and tell you we want these things. All right? However, I don't really feel that they're truly being honest with themselves. Okay? They'll say they want them, but then when you tell them, well, those aren't automatic conditions. They don't just magically manifest. Okay? There are requirements for obtaining these conditions. Okay? And people wouldn't say they want these conditions if these conditions were already omnipresent, right? They're saying that they want something because
now, I don't know. As a reactor, I just got unfortunate news that I got a copyright strike again. They're going to send me to copyright school. And my question would always be, as a music reactor, what can we do? At what point is fair use fair use? I don't know. I never noticed that before, but we've been talking about manifestation over with the old Chester P. Joey Ace, his departing from the music scene to find self, center. I would say probably connect with a lot of the things we're going to learn in the natural law seminar. But manifestation, he is addressed. So instead of listening to me or Mark, you could go find it on the channel. It is part of the tapestry that makes up the story I'm telling. But he was saying, witnessing the manifestation of wealth, things. Wealth is a good one, the big G for a lot of people, with dollar signs attached. And how they didn't even realize kind of the powers of the universe they were serving. And that's what I think is trying to be explained here in a way is that, I mean, it's when I'm making fun and using the Hallmark moment joke on the channel. So I'm assuming a lot of this natural law seminar will also be a deciphering tool for the entire history of reactions. And it was a Miss Fabian that got a copyright strike and pulled down. There's no deep story there. That was just what we fell into backwards from being a reactor. Here is what we're really here for. And it's funny because the way he said it, his body language, I'm like, well, yeah, there are things that can manifest magically, as Chester P. was explaining in his departure. And I thought it was funny. I'm going to get to catch things I never saw the first time. It's been so long since I went down this that I am just an excited. I don't want to be head of the class. I want to be a semi-good student or an incredibly open-minded student, middle back row and then hitting it up a few times. I'm not ready. I just want to be re-influenced by.
For obtaining these conditions. Okay? And people wouldn't say they want these conditions if these conditions were already omnipresent, right? They're saying that they want something because they don't have it at all, or at least in fullness, right? So when you tell them there's requirements for obtaining them, many people will say, oh, well, I may not be willing to go there.
At this point, I would like to explain right up front at the beginning that if you're really into it, should go support. Now, I'm guessing the people that'll be really into it probably already might know about Passio or support him in some way. But like the slides, the material he's put together are solid. And I just want to acknowledge that it should credit where credit is due. Found anything interesting, go over and tell them. Obviously, down in the description of this video is a link to the original. So, pay that forward at the very least. Please.
Will say, oh, well, I may not be willing to go there. I may not want to exert that much effort. And they believe that somehow they're going to magically get these things, right? Well, this is what the real laws of attraction are about. It's explaining conditions that you want don't just automatically manifest by thinking of them or just having a feeling about them. This is a new age deception. There are requirements for obtaining the conditions that we say we want. Requirement exists in nature.
So, what I think Chester P was reflecting on is the Luciferian nature or the money power control system that can manifest chains and stacks, rings, and things within the music industry. And then how easily those contractual arrangements and energy can form to get people what they want, but also create scenarios that probably destroy people, chew them up. Because one of the requirements is that party scene. And it's so, now I really see it. This is that, so the contractual thing is right here. So you can't ever be free as an artist if you sign, and the ability to sign is the pre-existing condition that will never let you be free.
Sure, it does exist. If you want something to be different than the way that it already is.
Okay, we're going to go back and check that out, because how this would directly apply, and we started this journey with Upchurch, and some of the people hating on him, because what they want is to vicariously live through his success, and he was supposed to sell out for more success. And Passio already told us that sometimes you just have a moral obligation to try something different, maybe. Like get to the tip top of country rap all by yourself for the most part. So this really seems to apply to some of the ranting from the channel. So just go back a little bit here.
Beings everywhere say that they want certain things in their life. And they say that they want certain things to be present for all humanity. Okay? We say we want certain conditions to be present for ourselves and our species as a whole. And we say we want things such as happiness, health, peace, prosperity, freedom, etc. And all these things are great things to aspire to. And we say we want them. Most people will say and tell you we want these things. All right? However, I don't really feel that they're truly being honest with themselves. Okay? They'll say they want them, but then when you tell them, well, those aren't automatic conditions. They don't just magically manifest. Okay? There are requirements for obtaining these conditions. Okay? And people wouldn't say they want these conditions if these conditions were already omnipresent, right? They're saying that they want something because they don't have it at all, or at least in fullness, right? So when you tell them there's requirements for obtaining them, many people will say, oh, well, I may not be willing to go there. I may not want to exert that much effort. And they believe that somehow they're going to magically get these things, right? Well, this is what the real laws of attraction are about. It's explaining conditions that you want don't just automatically manifest by thinking of them or just having a feeling about them. This is a new age deception. There are requirements for obtaining the conditions that we say we want. Requirement exists in nature. It does exist. If you want something to be different than the way that it already is, than the default conditions, then requirement exists. If you're okay with things being the way that they are now, requirement doesn't exist. There are no requirements to creating change. You just accept the default conditions the way they are now and go on with your existence and accept it's going to be this way and possibly get worse. But if you want real change to happen, requirements exist. And this is what many New Age teachers will not tell you, or they'll outright deny that requirements exist for creating real change. Specific requirements exist in order for human beings to obtain the conditions that they say they want. If the requirements for obtaining those conditions are not met, those conditions do not just magically manifest by magical means automatically. That's not how it works, folks. And that bursts a lot of people's bubble right off the bat. But this is a key concept to understand.
And then it's key concept, and I really don't want to exploit Mark. I want to ask you to join me as I go back to class. Instead of making fun and having a good time with Nightwish, where I wasn't really learning much because I don't put musicians on pedestals, I don't put Mark on a pedestal either, but I consider his knowledge base exceptional. So he qualifies as a teacher. My willingness to want to relearn all these things qualifies me as a student. Hopefully you joined us in part 2 and you can see what we're doing there. Will, on my channel, I talk about a lot of stuff, and I bought into, or I am reflecting for entertainment purposes only, on the magical poof into existence. But as we're being told here, one of the deciphering tools for the channel would, if you see how I'm always talking about the hurdles are the pre-existing things in place, and then will is the ability to create it in your mind first and then make it happen. If the hurdles are removed, you are allowed to manifest from the mind first outward and create something in the physical, if you will. And all of those weird rants really come down to, well, let's see here, trying to exist the let's put a Band-Aid on it that's never cure cancer aspect of it all. Until you can figure out what, another woof, that's a health and wellness. I don't do that. Passio would not be proud of me. I am a chain-smoking pothead who eats a lot of meat. I believe Mark is actually given up meat, I think. I'm not sure. I don't follow his personal life. I follow him as a aggregator of information. An exceptional one at that.
And that bursts a lot of people's bubble right off the bat. This is a key concept to understand.
I don't worship
So
him.
what are these requirements? We need to know certain things. Knowledge is required. Knowledge that will spur us to action. That's what's required. Okay? Since human beings as a species do not already have the things that they say they want, and again, at least not in fullness. If we want to split hairs, we could say we have a modicum of what we may say that we want, but we don't have it in the fullness that we will say that we want it, especially societally, globally. Okay? So since we don't already have these things, it follows logically that the knowledge of the requirements to obtaining these things, okay, either must be absent. They are not, the knowledge is not present anywhere. Or if it is present, if that knowledge for obtaining those things, the requirements for obtaining those things, if that knowledge is present, then it must be willfully being ignored. It is here, and yet people aren't paying attention to it. They aren't taking it in and accepting it and doing anything with that knowledge. So they're ignoring it because it's uncomfortable. As long as this knowledge continues to remain either unknown or ignored, the manifestation of the desired conditions that we say that we want is impossible. Cannot happen. It is an impossibility for it to magically, automatically manifest without the requirements being met. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. What are these requirements? What is this knowledge? This knowledge is occulted, meaning hidden. Okay, now, how many people here came here today thinking that they were going to hear information about the occult by a show of hands? Okay, about half the room. Good. Okay, for the rest of the people, that may come as a shock. But what you have to understand right off the bat is that the word occult, it's simply derived from Latin, the Latin adjective occultus. Occultus in Latin means hidden, hidden from sight. And it's derived from the Latin noun oculus, which means eye. Okay? The word ocular in English means related to the eye or related to sight or vision. So what the occult is something, it is a body of knowledge that has been hidden away for a specific reason. And we're going to get into what that reason is. Okay, so from the term oculus or eye in Latin comes the verb occultare. Occultare means to hide, to conceal, or to keep secret, to keep hidden from the eye so that it cannot be seen. The information regarding natural law is occulted knowledge. It is knowledge that has been hidden from humanity. Okay? It's held by the few, which is represented here at the top of this pyramid. You can look at this as a pyramid representing knowledge or ignorance. At the top of the pyramid, you have knowledge. It's the highest, higher you go in the pyramid, the more knowledge. Okay? But the pyramid tapers because at the top, very few people understand that information. Very few people have that knowledge and have actually integrated it into themselves to the point where it becomes understanding. All right? Down here, you have no knowledge, the ignorant masses. Okay?
Now, the Rich Dad Poor Dad course taught me that my unfortunate tie to physical labor as a true means of generating income kept me, I'm stuck in the middle. I can't free myself at the current time because of things put in me. I'm still working on that. In the mirror all the time, working on that. But understanding all this is they were like keys. Like, oh, wait. He's telling me, okay. And like I said, if you've been from the beginning, it's, you take it all in first. My delivery, his delivery, it's what about being said. But my first takeaway was, okay, now wait, because there's always a couple sides to things, at least in front and the back, two sides in that coin type deal. And secret doesn't mean evil. It just means secret. I'm not a big fan of secrets, but it really opened the door when I realized, I'm definitely stuck in the middle still. I wish I wasn't. I think I'm stepping up. I hope I'm climbing up, but it's tough because I'm still trapped to some tribal allegiances, systems of control that I live within, and being able to go to work on Friday is unfortunately still important. So I'm ready for the actual, trust me, we're already in it. From the intro to the end, it's just Passio's Passio. It's just good knowledge to have.
Knowledge. It's the highest, or ignorance. At the top of the pyramid, you have knowledge. It's the highest, higher you go in the pyramid, the more knowledge. Okay? But the pyramid tapers because at the top, very few people understand that information. Very few people have that knowledge and have actually integrated it into themselves to the point where it becomes understanding. All right? Down here, you have no knowledge, the ignorant masses. Okay? And up here, you have the people who are in the know, right, who have this knowledge about how natural law works and are actually using it for a certain reason. We're going to get to that next, what that is. So please, as you go through this seminar, please keep in mind, if I ever use the term occult, all I'm talking about here is hidden knowledge. That's what it means. Occulted knowledge is hidden. Now, why would anybody want to hide knowledge that is extremely important? Well, there's a very specific reason, all right? But before we even get to that, we have to talk about what is this occulted knowledge? What is the body of knowledge? What does it comprise? When I'm saying the occult, the knowledge of the occult, what do I mean by that, all right? Occult knowledge constitutes two things. There's two general bodies of occult knowledge. In the actual mystery traditions and in occult schools, they talk about these as arcana, A-R-C-A-N-A, arcana. The word arcana is also Latin. It means knowledge, okay? That's all it means. So there's two bodies of knowledge. There's one body of knowledge in the occult called lesser arcana, the lesser arcana or the minor arcana. This means the knowledge of the microcosm, the knowledge of the small things, okay? It doesn't mean it's less important. It means it's dealing with the individual units of consciousness, the human psyche, the psyche of the individual, okay? So the first major body of occult knowledge constitutes knowledge of human consciousness, how it works, how it operates, what our motivations are, things like that, okay? The second body of occult knowledge is called the greater arcana or the major arcana, all right? And again, this doesn't refer to that it's more important. It refers to it is the macrocosmic understanding, the understanding of the very large laws of nature that govern the macrocosm, okay? So universal laws are part of the greater arcana of occult knowledge. And what I call here today, under the umbrella, the term natural law, falls into that second category of greater knowledge, the greater arcana of occult knowledge, okay? And what these natural laws are unseen and universal spiritual laws. We could talk about the word natural here too. Natural is derived from Egyptian and other Middle Eastern tradition languages, okay? The word neter in Egyptian, which would have been spelled without vowels, if we transliterated it, it would be NTR in English. Neter means spirit in Egyptian, in ancient Egyptian. The suffix al, even in English today, but if you go back into Arabic languages and ancient Middle Eastern languages, al as a suffix actually means of or related to, or having come from, okay? So natural, if you put these root words together, neter and al, right? It means of or related to the realm of spirit, of or related to God, actually. The word neter also meant God, spirit or God, okay? So this is the spiritual domain, the laws that actually are operating in the unseen realm. Okay, now, they manifest in the physical realm. We're going to talk about that, okay, because that's the operation that it trickles down from. It starts in the spiritual domain, and then it manifests in the physical domain, all right? So it's important to understand these two bodies of knowledge. The lesser arcana, okay, is about the monad or the individuated unit of consciousness of the human being. And then the greater knowledge is about the laws that govern the macrocosmic universe. All right? So, what these laws do.
What these laws do. Good place for the next part. Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar. This one, I just really wanted him. We'll rant more next time. I just want to, I do not want to take away from what he's delivering, and I think a lot of this is actually, in my world, really important. My opinion is for entertainment purposes only. He's trying to give you knowledge that is hidden from you, but believed by, well, the tippity top, for sure. Yeah, I believe that. So, We'll see you next time.